and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me for another one of my YouTube videos today. So today I wanted to cover all about patience and waiting and what the gift of doing this can be. Now obviously this week we've come out of Mercury Retrograde as you're watching this. As I'm recording it, we're still in Mercury Retrograde. And I thought this would be a brilliant conversation to bring to the table to talk about how we can find peace and learn how to have patience with manifestations and with all areas of our lives so we can feel that peace and calm moving forward, and how we deal with that impatientness, how we deal with the masculine energy within us, or the impatientness, which definitely I have as a Virgo. I'll hold my hands up. How we can navigate that to finding peace and joy in the present moment and relieve ourselves of those negative feelings that make us spiral into fear, that make us spiral into a whole array of emotions that we don't need to be feeling. So first of all, let's check in with Mercury Retrograde, because realistically Mercury Retrograde is what has been making us feel impatient over the last 3 weeks. Now I'm fully aware, and I'm sure we can all admit, 2020 has been a year of delays, of plans not going ahead, delays, travel plans, frustrations, impatientness. Like 2020 has been that as a whole. But definitely I feel in the last 3 weeks it's been heightened due to Mercury going into retrograde as well. So I've done videos on Mercury retrograde before, but if you're not familiar, Mercury is a planet obviously, and when it goes retrograde, which is part of astrology, it means that things go backwards or appear to go backwards. So Mercury is the ruler of travel, communication and technology. So I have seen it all. My friend's laptop broke during Mercury retrograde. My laptop broke last year and I had to replace it. Her time was this, literally it was a year ago I did this, what happened with my laptop, and hers happened this time. Delays, plans, cancellations, travel, you name it. Communication can also be affected as well. We've had it all. And I tend to laugh at it now. I think definitely a few years ago I would have been the person who'd be cursing at Mercury retrograde. Now I just go with the flow. I surrender and I'm like, what's this teaching me? What is this teaching me? And how can I feel ease and grace with this process? How can I be kinder to myself? How can I take that pressure off of expectations or frustrations, and work through that to see the bigger picture as such? So Mercury gives us that 3 week period, and it can happen, I think it's like 2 to 3 times a year. I may be wrong, I'm not an astrologer, but Mercury retrograde tends to happen 2 to 3 times a year. Could be more, could be less. But the ones I've been aware of have been 2 to 3 a year. So this is our last one of 2020. And basically it allows us the time to rest, reflect and reevaluate. So it slows us down, or appears to slow us down. So you think about it, we're humans. What is the quickest way for the universe to slow us down? Technology, communication and travel. So once it slows us down, we're able to shine the light on the areas of our life that we need that need our TLC, that need our attention and our energy. So for me, it was definitely my business, reevaluating my business and looking at my next moves. It was also resting, looking after my health, and learning patience, and to not be like going at a million miles per hour. So even though we've had, should we say, like more of a relaxed year in terms of being in lockdown and all the disruptions and chaos that has happened, it has still been a really busy year for me, definitely, and I'm sure you guys can agree. And it's also been a year where I haven't actually had much rest, even though I feel like I had. Obviously I've been working the whole time, so that's not actual true rest and slowing down and creating the space to rest, reevaluate and rethink. So it allows us that time to pull back, to be able to look at the areas we need to look at, shine the light upon them, reevaluate, have a think about things, allow things to unfold, so that when Mercury goes direct again, we can push forwards with a new awareness, with new, insight or a perspective, whatever it may be, maybe some answers. Maybe you went into Mercury retrograde with wanting answers about something. I definitely did in my business, and I got those answers by truly surrendering to that Mercury retrograde process and allowing that to come to me. But that required a whole new level of patience, and that required, and other things in my life as well, like communication, plans, etc., all required patience, which I'm definitely better at. But if you're anything like me, patience is a continuous lesson. And it's something I have to definitely lean into and remind myself of, you know, what is this teaching me? And again, like that patience and that waiting, or when, you know, Mercury retrograde, or even out of Mercury retrograde, when plans get disrupted. We look at this year, it has just been one big plan disrupted, basically. It's been a whole mood of plan being cancelled, and actually all of us being like, do you know what? Really good stuff has come out of this. Like, kind of glad that's happened. Obviously not good about the pandemic and people who are obviously suffering and who are like that. Obviously I'm not referring to that. That has been hard and stressful for every single one of us, of course. So we've also had the added stress, which makes us impatient as well, because we're like, come on universe, like give me some happiness. Like, we've got the pandemic going on, we've got all of this, and yeah, like when you're being then stopped in your tracks with your manifestations, your career, do you know what I mean? Like just everyday stuff. You're like, come on, just something. So I think we've all definitely been tested in the patience department this year. And also patience with that pivot, with that change in our lives, and when things have like done 180s and, you know, we've taken different paths or whatever, like taken big leaps this year. Patience is, you know, required with that as well. I think sometimes when we almost like jump into those new situations, or we jump into like a new business or a new idea or whatever it may be, we're almost like, right, I want to hit the road running, like hit the ground running as such. I never know what the term is, hit the road running, hit the ground running, and, you know, just go full speed. And then it's like, even that 2020 and Mercury retrograde energy is like, not quite yet, you're gonna go slow and steady. And sometimes going slow and steady is so beneficial. And I think when I was going through that period where I didn't have clarity on my business, I kept getting so frustrated, because I was like, I've never had this problem before of like what I want my next step to be. Like, I have the ideas, I have everything lined up, but I didn't feel called to go to any of them. And I think that's, you know, that is part of that patientness of, don't just do something because it's there and it's like, oh, it's accessible. So I could have gone with those ideas, but would they have felt right? No. So I had to sit in that space and allow and have that patience for the answer to unfold in the way it was meant to. So it was a hell yes. And definitely, I think looking back over many situations in my life that required patience and waiting, especially in terms of books and book publishers, I can look back and say, all waiting, all delays, all rejections are always divine redirections to exactly where you're meant to be. And I think as humans, especially as a Virgo, if you have Virgo in your natal chart, your birth chart, you're going to feel this as well. But there are lots of other signs that feel impatientness as well. But Virgos are the perfectionists. So we feel it a lot because we are the perfectionist who wants everything to run streamline in a linear order, and we want to tick it off. And when that doesn't happen, obviously Virgos really struggle with that. But again, that's not, you know, exclusive to Virgos. I'm sure a lot of you watching, even if you don't have Virgo in your chart, will resonate with that as well. So it's about that perfectionism as well, of like us as human, in our human mind being like, it must look like this, it must follow this linear pattern, otherwise. And it's that need for control. If we look at it, when we're feeling impatient, when we're feeling stressed out and like wanting and just being like, why, oh my God, like these delays, when we're in that mode, what are you trying to control? It's a good old question I ask myself. What are you trying to control here? Because if you had that underlying faith, or that intuition of, you know, like, I know this is gonna all be good, like that book deal is gonna come, that work thing's gonna work out, like whatever, like, you know that's gonna happen, this or something better, like that's gonna happen or something better is gonna happen. So when we have that underlying faith and trust, why would we care about time? Why would we care? Because we'd be like, okay, yes, that's annoying, but I can move through that knowing that I'm exactly where I need to be. So it's the controlling human aspect of us, who is also probably the perfectionist as well, that is like, oh, but I just wanted it now. Oh, but I just wanted it in that way. When the universe is like, stop. You think you know what's best for you? Great, hun. But actually we know what's best for you. And I know that if like my book deal would come like a day earlier, or, you know, like when I'd wanted it to, and when I'd got so frustrated and impatient, would I have been grateful at, like, would I have been as grateful for it as I was at that second point? Probably not. Would I have had the lessons that I needed in order to be able to receive that book deal? No, I wouldn't have had that either. So I wouldn't be the person that I am today who was able to receive that. And if we look at manifestation with the acting as if process, you have to align yourself to that version of you who has that desire. So think about it. Are you that version of yourself who has that desire, who has that movement forward, who has that, you know, that business is suddenly thriving, or, you know what I mean, those steps forward? Are you that person who is in that place where things have moved forward? And that can be, you know, a good check-in as well, a good reality check of like, okay, do I feel that? Because if you were, you wouldn't be sat here watching this video and you wouldn't be feeling the feels of impatientness, because you would be like, well, I have this thing already, so why would I need to feel impatient? It's here, it's great, yay. So what you have to cultivate is looking at why you're trying to control. Do some journaling around this, check in with yourself. Why are you trying to control this? What fear is sparking up? Meaning that your default is control, or default is when it's not going in the way you would like it to, or the time frame you'd like it to. Why is that bothering you? What is underneath that? And when you can dive underneath that and clear that and do that inner work, you're gonna feel peace. You're gonna feel here in the present moment. Now, obviously I can give you tips on how to do that, like grounding, breath work, oh my gosh, crystals. There are so many great things you can do. Even yoga can be a very good centering and present moment practice to do, to bring you here into the now and stop future tripping or even past tripping. But also we have to dig underneath the layer of the control, because you can make yourself present, but then tomorrow you're probably going to feel the control again. You're probably going to feel those impatientness again. So dive underneath the layers. Yes, bring crystals into it. Amethyst is a great one for present momentness, calming, helps with anxiety, helps with sleep. So amethyst is always a good one. Smoky quartz is again a very grounding crystal. I love smoky quartz. It's just such a great nurturing, grounding Mother Earth energy. So definitely get yourself some of them if you don't have them already. But journal around the control aspect of what is making you control this. What are you fearing? What is the fear beneath that control? Dive into it and see what you can do to shift that. And also EFT, turn to EFT. EFT I rely upon, especially when I'm feeling that control or that impatientness, because I'm like, right, tap it out. Like, tap it out and, you know, work with that of what is coming up. Can you dive into and dive deeper with to release, to feel that present moment and that peace here and now, because you deserve to feel peace. We all deserve to feel peace, and we can access that. It's so easy. We just have to release the control and release what is standing in the way of those feelings. So turn to some EFT, some tapping. Brad Yates is an amazing person here on YouTube. I'm sure you're all aware how much I love Brad Yates. If you're a long time subscriber of the channel, if not, you're in for a treat. Go and check him out. So do some videos on control and impatientness, definitely fear as well. If you identify what the underlying fear is as well, you could do a video on that. So EFT is amazing, powerful, and works so quickly. So please do go and try that if you haven't tried it already. And from that space, once you can then be in your present moment, feeling peace and calm, feeling your true feelings and, you know, your vibes as such, you then feel happiness. Well, hopefully you are. You're going to cultivate that. So you're going to feel happiness, joy, you're going to feel presentness and calmness. Now, when you look at those emotions and those feelings, is that more in alignment with that version of you who has that manifestation, who has that outcome? Yeah, it probably is, isn't it? Instead of the fearful, impatient person. So this is how you navigate through that, is looking at what you're trying to control, getting to that underlying fear, working and releasing that, and then cultivating, you know, raising your vibration. And again, it is something you need to do consistently, raising your vibration, of raising your vibes, feeling positive, cultivating a good daily practice as well. Big preacher of that. I would never miss a daily practice unless obviously it was like an emergency or like something massive had happened in my life, because I feel the effects of it. If I don't do it, I know. And I don't want to have a day where I don't set myself up for success in that way. So a daily practice is so important. So set yourself up for success. Have a good daily practice. Cultivate those happiness and joy and fun vibes, because as we know, joy and fun are the ultimate creators, and they're going to help you to manifest as well. So witness it. That is the first step. Witness the control. Go underneath, dive into the fear, and work through that with some awesome tools that I have suggested here. Again, so many videos I have on this channel, podcast episodes, my books obviously have all practical tools in them as well. So if you want more like, you know, in-depth advice, etc., Positively Wealthy, my book, has 33-day practices all on inner work, which helps you to manifest your dreams, your desires, and with practical, you know, practical tools for manifesting and also to do the inner work. So there's loads of focus on fear, control, surrender, letting go, all of it, because that's what I needed and still need sometimes along my journey for sure. So once you witness it, it's about taking action. So you're going to take that action with your tools, and then you can work to that place of raising your vibes and, you know, being in the best place possible to receive. And again, it's looking at that bigger picture of, you know, it's always the case of when we move through something, work through something, we look back and we're like, that was the bigger picture. Of course, that's why that had to happen. Oh my God, I'm so grateful that did have a delay or whatever, rejection, whatever it is. Or I had to learn to be patient, because actually it's so much better now having it in this different way that the universe delivered it in, or time frame. But when you're in the moment, it's sometimes a lot harder, or it is very harder, to see the why, to see the reason. So challenge yourself. What is the universe trying to show you here? What is the universe giving you the opportunity to witness, to work with, to evaluate? What opportunity is the universe giving you, basically? Because it is giving you an opportunity. Is it to learn? Is it to grow? Is it to rest? Is it to pull back? Is it to have a new form of awareness? And this is why Mercury Retrograde, I know people will curse at me for saying this, is a blessing as well, because we have those 3 weeks like we've just had to be able to work through this. But obviously this video will appeal to anybody at any point in the year, whether it's Mercury Retrograde or not. But at least we can understand why that happens in those periods to be able to move forward. And think about it like an arrow as well. And I literally saw this quote this morning on my Pinterest, which is probably why I felt called to do this video as well, of when we pull, you know, when we shoot an arrow, we pull it back and then it fires forward. But we have to pull it back to be able to fire it forward. So sometimes when things feel like they're slowing down, going backwards, or not even moving at all, don't panic. See that as time to pivot, rest, reevaluate, and rethink what you're doing. Have that clear 2020 vision to be able to move forwards with ease and grace at that lightning speed. Now, when you feel yourself going backwards, get excited, because you're always about to be pushed forward into a new phase of your life. Whether it's a new idea, creativity, ideas, breakthroughs, there's so many different things it can be. But to have that fast movement forward, we have to be pulled back a little bit. So always remember that. That wasn't as beautifully written as the Pinterest quote, but I have my own unique way of describing a lot of things. So I hope that it still had the positive effect that it did on me this morning when I read it, and I was like, yes, patience. Patience is a virtue. And it, you know, it's a classic timely saying, but so true, of all good things will come to you with patience, with time, and what is meant for you will never pass you by. So always remember that. What is meant for you will never pass you by, and you're always exactly where you're meant to be. So right here, right now, even if you are kicking and screaming at me and saying, Emma, for God's sake, I just want this to like move forwards or work or whatever it is, that manifestation, just trust. What's the worst thing that could happen if you just trusted this process? Trust in the universe, trust in the sacred plan, trust in yourself, and trust that there is a perfect timing for all of it to come together. And all that is required is the steps that I've given you today, and to feel that peace and ease in your everyday life, because that's going to help you to feel good. And we all want to feel good at the end of the day. And you may not have the answer right now of what opportunity the universe is giving you here, but you will one day, and you will be grateful for it. So trust that the universe's timing is always better than yours, but sometimes better than yours, but it always is better than yours. That's why I always say, like, I don't like saying sometimes better than yours, because always the universe knows. So sometimes, yes, your timing is great and the universe will deliver it, but all the time the universe knows the right time to deliver things. So trust that there is a reason for everything and it will all be revealed when it's meant to. So thank you so much guys for watching my YouTube video. I appreciate all your views and likes. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here, because I would love to see you again soon. Don't forget you can join my free Law of Attraction support group over on Facebook, where you can join myself and other like-minded souls where we talk all things Law of Attraction and spirituality. And don't forget to leave me a comment in the comments box down below, because I reply to them all. So I hope you have a great week whatever you're up to, and I'll see you all in my next video, which will be next week. Lots of love guys.